I lived in Miami Beach, Florida from late 2016 to mid-2020. I lived in two different high-rise buildings, the second one being in the area of North Beach at 69th Street. It was as great as you'd expect, full of vibrant community and lots of restaurants. But it did have its challenges, including occasional flooding. This would happen during the rainy season, or what the rest of the country commonly knows as summer. In South Florida, we get lots and lots of rain. This, compounded with higher sea levels and drainage problems, creates flooding like you see here 3 to 4 times a summer. I filmed these flooding videos in 2017 and 2018. It's easy to imagine that this much exposure to water, combined with salty sea air and foundations built on limestone, would bring its own engineering challenges. I moved out of the city in 2020, and a year later, the unthinkable happened, with the partial collapse of the Champlain Towers, killing 98 people. Buildings in the Miami area have come under increased scrutiny, and fear and uncertainty have left a pall over an otherwise tropical paradise. Since leaving Miami, I've been studying artificial intelligence, and 2 weeks ago I began doing part-time marketing work for an AI company called Clarifai. Clarifai has a platform that uses a technology called deep learning to recognize potentially unlimited things in photos, videos, text, and audio. Using this platform, I realized that there was something I can do for my friends and neighbors in the Miami area, and here it is. Using AI, we can create an early warning system for structural problems in buildings using existing security cameras. The Clarifai platform has a capable general model that can identify lots of things in the world, but for something as specific as concrete conditions, we're going to have to teach it a little more. We can do this training by using images of what's known as concrete cancer. Concrete cancer is caused when the steel reinforcement inside a concrete slab begins to rust. As the steel rusts, it expands and displaces the surrounding concrete, causing it to become brittle and crack, which makes the problem even worse. If we can find enough pictures of concrete cancer, we can train an AI model to recognize it. Signs of concrete cancer include cracking concrete, which is called concrete spalling, rust stains which seem to leak out from within, bubbling and peeling off of paint, and leaks which appear in overhead concrete surfaces. We can also train our model to look for undamaged concrete by showing it healthy buildings and concrete surfaces. Here, I've given the model lots of pictures of normal, intact concrete buildings and structures. Most of what it seems to have picked up on is the use of clean corners and smooth surfaces. While this will cause a few cars and trucks to be falsely detected as healthy concrete, it will have no effect on the detection of damage, which I will highlight in red. In total, I provided the model with 300 images of damaged concrete and 173 images of undamaged concrete. The need for training data can't be understated. If this system were to ever go into widespread use, we would need much larger quantities of damaged and undamaged concrete photos. It's time to see how well our model performs. I've found a 10-year-old clip from YouTube of a man showing damaged concrete, and even hitting it with a hammer to reveal how brittle it is. The model performs spectacularly, not only pinpointing the only concrete with exposed rebar in the video, but even expanding the size of the bounding box when he knocks more of the wall off with a hammer. Simultaneously, the model identifies the clean concrete to the left as undamaged. 2 weeks after the disaster, video footage of a walkthrough of the Champlain Towers was published, and we are able to test the model on the actual building that collapsed. Note that when we first open the model, the detector threshold is set at 0. This means anything that has greater than a 0% chance of being damaged or undamaged concrete will be detected. Obviously this is too much, as our screen is overwhelmed with boxes. We can set the threshold to 70% in order to filter out these false positives. It has been repeatedly reported that the building had been dealing with water problems, so the presence of puddles on the floor is not surprising. However, our detector has noticed spalling on the floor next to a huge concrete slab. It appears the joint where the concrete was connected to the rest of the floor has spalled, and repairs were performed on the damage. As we continue to tour the garage, we notice a few things. As mentioned previously, the detector mistakes cars and trucks for undamaged concrete. This isn't a problem, but a quirk of the small amount of training data, because they're not generating false positives of damaged concrete. Most of the issues will be visible in the ceiling, where we see multiple sources of damage. Water has caused the paint to peel, and injection ports have not been removed, creating distinctive, evenly spaced lines. As well, stalactites dot the ceiling. Injection ports are used to repair cracks in concrete. Holes are drilled into the material, and plastic ports are inserted. Then, epoxy or urethane is injected through these ports to seal cracks and prevent further water leakage. What likely happened here is that the ports were never removed, which is evident by the evenly spaced white dots in the ceiling. Stalactites, on the other hand, are caused by water seepage through the ceiling and pulling calcium out of the concrete. This forms the distinctive white powdery calcium carbonate fingers. This powder also falls onto the paint, making it lose cohesion with the concrete and causing it to hang down. The brownish-red discoloration appears to be caused by rust, and could be urethane or epoxy used to repair previous cracks that have been colored by rusty water. In this next segment, the model largely finds no visible damage, as the person filming is mostly aiming the camera straight ahead. While watching this jarring, difficult-to-follow footage, keep in mind that an ideal AI system to monitor the buildings would be using unmoving security cameras attached to the walls. Having lived in the South Florida area for some time, I know that all the condo buildings there have comprehensive security cameras. Whether those cameras provide sufficient quality and coverage of the foundations remains to be seen. But this prototype detector is already proving itself capable. Recently, on August 12, 2021, The Washington Post published an analysis of how the building may have collapsed. They include a video which highlights a part of the ceiling in blue. As you can see, it corresponds extremely well with the identification of damaged concrete by the AI detector. Throughout this garage video, we've either noticed damage from looking down at water or looking up at cracks, stalactites, and injection ports. At this point, the person filming is standing right at the bottom of the ramp that leads outside. You can see an enormous crack in the slab that continues in front of the ramp. Closer examination shows a joint with spalling and a secondary crack. Whether the foundations under the garage played a role in the collapse is still undetermined. However, the detector has noted it nonetheless. We are also able to use the model to detect damage using Google Street View, as Google has not yet updated their map to remove the fallen building. The advantage of this AI system is not that it possesses a much keener eye than a human. Indeed, much of the damage we've seen would be easily spotted by an experienced engineer. The advantage of AI lies in 24/7 monitoring by an unblinking, never-tiring sensor that could alert residents the moment any damage is detected. The fact that not only was serious damage present on the underside of a balcony of Champlain Towers South, but that it was visible to Google's mapping vehicle on the road below should be a wake-up call. With rising sea levels increasingly threatening the South Florida area, it will surprise no one if more buildings need to be evacuated for safety, and AI can help us spot warnings before another disaster occurs. A human can't sit and stare at a wall all day and all night. A computer can.